I don't know if you're ready to see what I want to show you.
So, I've done the research, I've written the book, I've actually gone through every calculation, but I'm going to tell you something, and you might not want to hear it. If you're in a narcissistic relationship, the only option that you have is to get out. Okay, I hope you guys don't mind. I have so much to do today, but I gotta get this out. So if you can't name a thing, you cannot escape a thing. And what we're talking about in this section is the trance. Some people call it the fog, the narcissistic trance. So what happens is, first off, let me just tell you something. Narcissists don't believe in dating, okay? When they met you, it wasn't a date. It was an interview process. They needed to know if you were going to fit their needs, okay? So what the narcissist does, and they do this in 3 stages, and it happens all the freaking time. I swear I can't get this button. It happens all the time. It's idealize, then it's devalue, then it's discard. It's the same process over and over again. It may take a little bit longer. It might be a little bit shorter. It all depends on your dynamic within that relationship, how much you can give them the supply that they crave and need. So in the beginning of the relationship, it's called love bombing. This is done on purpose. This is where they make sure that you feel like, hey, listen, you are their everything. This is the perfect relationship. You actually met your soulmate. And everything is like next level. I mean, it is next level. The intimacy, the conversations, everything is done on purpose to put you in the fog, because once they go to stage 2, the value stage, they need you to always fall back into remembering the fog days, the days when everything was perfect, because this helps them. This helps them keep you around so that they can continue to drain you. If you think about a mosquito actually gives you a little anesthetic, okay? It comes out so that they can drink the blood. You feel it sooner or later, but they give you an anesthetic to make you feel good, so you're not paying attention to what's really going on. The mosquito draining your freaking blood, okay? So while you're sitting up there having fun, the mosquito's just having a field day. Sometimes you catch it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it gets its fill and flies away. Sometimes you get rid of it, you know. But with the narcissist, it doesn't happen that way, okay? The narcissist needs to devalue you, then discard you. So the first stage, the ideology stage, the I idolize you, is when they start this whole process of mimicking you. You know, they're doing data collection. They're trying to find out more about you. And they're not trying to find out more about you because they actually want to know, they actually care, because this is not a real relationship. See, you think it's a real relationship. They know before it even started that, hey, I'm just waiting for the perfect time to actually break you completely down and get rid of you. So always be cognizant to the fact, if you feel that, I guess this could be your first warning sign if you're not aware that you're in a narcissistic relationship, is how everything was perfect in the beginning, and nowadays it seems like you can't do anything right at all, whatsoever. You know, I really have to get ready. With that being said, let's move on to the next section.
It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
So, I'll fix this later. So, the love that you give will never, ever be enough, because honestly, it wasn't about love. See, the discard is inevitable, okay? I remember that from The Matrix. Inevitability. I can't even say the word, but it's inevitable. It's going to happen one way or the other. Again, you are basing this relationship on the fact that you feel like you are the chosen one. You are chosen. Okay, for whatever reason, you heard all these stories about, you know, their past relationships, and there's one thread, okay, there's one thread in all the stories that they tell you about their past relationships. They were always the victim, and the most recent relationship You are their savior. You came in the nick of time just to save them. How did that make you feel? Didn't that make you feel special? Again, the fog, it gets deeper and deeper. It gets thicker and thicker, almost like that movie. Okay? So what you're doing is you are being basically set up for failure. Okay? Because they need to break you. The narcissist needs to break you down completely. They need you to fall in love with them so that way they can work from the inside and destroy you, kind of like a virus. Okay, so what they do is you'll notice the devalue stage, because now you're past the idealization stage. You're past that. They have got you locked into the fog. I'm telling you, you guys got to get the free audiobook because it explains this stuff so much better. Okay, but now they have you, they're past that stage. You're in the fog, and all of a sudden, there's not a damn thing you can do right. You know, they're constantly criticizing you, they're constantly devaluing you, and everything that you try to do, because you, believe it or not, are the fixer in this relationship. However, you're dealing with something that is so completely broken that there's no way in the world that you will be able to fix it at all whatsoever. Okay, and they're taking great joy in watching you trying to fix this relationship that they have orchestrated to be broken. Okay, because in their mind, they need that. See, narcissists are actually like this empty shell. No empathy, no loyalty. And they have this, whatever happened to them in the early years of their life, they have carried around this shame. And they need to not remember that shame. They need to not relive that shame. They need to not take accountability for anything. What they need to do is they need to break you so that they feel powerful and they feel good about themselves. See, by breaking you, they push that shame way, way down where it can't bother them anymore. So everything that you do is actually worthless. You're the worst person. You know, every time you breathe, you know, it's like pisses them off. They go into a rage. You know, they make you feel worse and worse. They make you feel less and less about yourself. And what they're doing is they're watching you because, see, you're trying to fix this. You're trying to make this all better. So now you're starting to apologize for things that are not your fault because you're trying to keep the peace. You're a fixer. You know, now you're trying to actually go out of your way to make them feel happy, to make them feel special at the expense of pushing your own emotions, your own feelings, your own needs to the bottom of the barrel, you know? And when you start to question when you're enough, that's when they got you. Because you don't remember who you were before you entered that relationship. And I gotta go fix this tie. So let's go ahead and I'll be back with the final part of this video.
You think it was just a bad relationship. But it wasn't just that. It was a soul theft. Narcissistic abuse leaves scars no one else can see. And sometimes the hardest thing to do is name what really happened. No More Chains is an unfiltered, soul-level audiobook for survivors who are done pretending it didn't happen. For those ready to turn silence into clarity and pain into power. If you're still questioning what they did to you, if you're still trying to figure out who you were before they broke you, start here. The audiobook is free, because your healing should never be a luxury. Your freedom isn't up for sale. It starts with truth. Download No More Chains today. Link in bio. Share it. Live it. Break free from the chains.
I'm sorry, kiddo, I really am. You have a good soul. And I hate giving good people bad news.
So let me just put it this way, okay? Leaving is hard, but staying will definitely destroy you. There is no version of this relationship that you're going to win at all whatsoever. This is like the craziest plot ever. And the reason why you can't win is because you've come to the point at this stage, I'm thinking, where the chaos, the dysfunction, the being called names, the outbursts, all that stuff has become normal to you. okay? And you're deep down inside hoping, praying every night that you can get this person back to the beginning where you first met them, the fog. See, that's why they plan out the fog so perfectly, because they need you to doubt the reality, which is kind of sick and sordid. They need you to doubt the reality that you're actually living in. This helps them to break you, okay? So what do you do? First off, hopefully you got the audiobook. You are actually figuring out that, hey, listen, this is really a toxic and a narcissistic relationship. By the way, it is free, okay? Link in the details, something like that. Okay, so you're starting to figure out that something is wrong. You know, the red flags have been popping up since like day 2 of this relationship. Okay, it moves super quick. Next thing you know, you're saying, I love you. You're probably shopping for wedding rings. And, you know, it's like you're sitting up here and you're telling yourself through being berated, through being, you know, diminished, from having your very core being torn apart, you're telling yourself for some strange reason that it's okay. We can get back to where we were in the beginning. More than likely, you're an empath. I get it. And this is what empaths tend to do. They want to fix. By the way, narcissists tend to be attracted to empaths because they know how we think. They already know, oh, this person, they're going to try to fix this. Oh, I can drain them as long as humanly possible. As long as they got good supply, I can keep them around because they will always try to fix this problem. Not knowing that it's not a problem with me. You know, you have to decide, once you figure out where you're at, once you start to actually look at the red flag and say, hey, listen, this isn't the way a relationship is supposed to work. This is not the way that I envisioned me and this person going through life. Let me put the brakes on something. What you're going to find is, once you start realizing, the narcissist is going to rage. Okay? They're going to use the fog, okay? Because they built this trauma bond with you. They take you way high up in the stratosphere over a whole bunch of chaos, and then for a few days, they become the most loving individual ever, okay? And how does that make you feel, being the fixer, being the empath? That makes you feel like there's hope. There is no hope. Get that out of your mind. You need to create an exit plan. That's why I named this video, there is no option except to get out. Okay? You've got to start working on an exit plan. And I know it can be difficult as hell. It can be hard, especially if you got kids, you got property, you got houses, you got time. You know, the narcissist does this. You know, I experienced this firsthand. You know, within 2 months, oh, we need joint bank accounts. Oh, no, the hell we don't. You know, so you have to be careful. I mean, I'm kind of stingy. So yeah, that was like a huge red flag that made me say, no, we're not doing that. But then the love bombing, you know, because I think they realized, oh, he's trying to catch on. You know, then, you know, the love bombing, and then I'm happy. I'm like a happy little squirrel. I'm just going around the house. Then once again, here comes the devaluing. Now I'm the worst person that ever walked this planet. So, you know, you have to start paying attention to the red flags. You have to start figuring out how you're going to detach yourself. Now, here's the deal. There's always 2 choices. You can continue to deal with this cycle of pain and chaos, or you can get free. Okay? You can just release yourself from the chains. Okay? I know, it seems difficult right now. As you're thinking about it, it seems super difficult. You don't know how you're going to do this, how you're going to make this happen. I'm going to tell you, in the end, you're going to have to make it happen. There's no choice in the matter. You know what? I have kids with my narcissistic abuser, and I had to come to the decision, I can sort this out later. I can't be here. I can't be in this relationship. Yeah, the book is written from a lot of my pain, from a lot of my discovery, from a lot of me getting to understand, hey, how did I end up here? How did I end up in hell? Okay, so yes, that's why I give the audiobook away for free under the banner of Church of Real Talk, I'm out there literally trying to help people heal, to help people recognize these red flags. You know, that's why I offer so much free stuff, because I want people to not have to go through this. I actually consider this to be spiritual warfare. You know, it's kind of unfair when you have a person that, like a virus, like a parasite, is using your best intentions against you. Your intentions as an empath is to build a long and lasting relationship. Nobody actually enters into a relationship with an expiration date. Nobody, except the narcissist. Most people want to, hey, let me elevate myself. Let me bring that to the table. Let's elevate each other. Let's be the greatest power couple ever. That's how most people think. The narcissist just wants to train you. Okay, they just want your emotional reactions. They just want to create chaos. And they just sit back with this like grin on their face, like, I'm fed. I feel important once again. I don't have to look back at the shame that I've been trying to hide all of these years. You know, I keep all the stuff that I'm doing in the link tree. I have one-on-one sessions. I have the audiobook, which is completely free. We've got the healing circle. I'm getting out in the world. I'm actually doing like live events to help people recognize these red flags that for years I didn't recognize because I stayed stuck in the fog. And many of you are still stuck in the fog. You need to free yourself. It's like the Matrix, you know, you have to free your mind. You know, I'm going to be making more videos like this, I guess with a little bit more of actionable tips besides getting the hell out, but that's the most important tip that I can offer. You know, you've got to find a way out, you know, and, you know, that's the only way you're going to find true peace. With that being said, thank you for joining me for No More Chains. Mr. Robinson, Church of Real Talk, and the reason why I do everything that I do, love you guys.
They cracked me open, but that's how the light finally got in.